Hi guys, it's Meridy here with our July 2021 Not Just for Boys page kit, and today I'm going to give you the instructions for this double page layout. But I'm going to start by telling you what you'll receive in your kit. You're going to get one Heidi Swap sticker sheet with these white and silver stickers. You're going to get one pack of these Pretty Little Studio Savannah Dreams die cuts with raindrops and clouds. You're going to get one cut that says silver lining that I designed, and you're going to get this Paige Evans paper, Wonders number 6, and this Echo Park Dots and Stripes yellow paper, and the Pretty Little Studios Daydreams Savannah Dreams paper. This one is only one-sided, as you can see. And you're going to also get two 12 by 12 white cardstocks. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is cut all of these papers according to your instruction sheet that came with your kit. And I'm going to turn off the camera while I do that, and I will come back. Make sure to read, because a lot of these papers you're going to gut, which is just cutting out the middle. So make sure to read and make sure to pay attention to what you're cutting closely before you actually cut it. You don't want to accidentally cut the whole side off of the papers that you're supposed to gut. Just in case you do not know how to gut a piece of paper, I'm going to show you that. What you're going to do, for instance, this blue paper is, the middle is gutted out 1/2 inch on each side. So I'm going to line it up on my paper trimmer to 11.5 inches. And you don't cut all the way from the top to the bottom. You start your cut right about there and end it right about there. And you do this on all 4 sides at 11.5 inches. So that's how you gut a piece of paper. And once you get all 4 sides done, then you'll just end up with basically, oops, like a frame, just like that. Okay, for the left-hand side of this layout, you're going to use the following items. You're going to have a 4x6 photo. I'm just using a white piece of paper to represent my photo. This scrap of the yellow paper, this other part of the yellow paper that was inside of what you gutted, this photo mat. You're also going to use some of this white cardstock to create a mat for your photo. It's going to be kind of hard to see here because it's white on white, but I'm going to create a mat for my photo using this piece. And this layout is pretty flexible, so if you have more than just one 4x6 photo, or if you have 2 smaller photos, you can use them too. You're also going to use this big part of the teal paper that's gutted, and this gutted portion of the Paige Evans paper, and this outside gut of the yellow paper. The first thing I'm going to do is mat my photo, because that will just get some things out of the way. So let's just scoot all this over and mat my photo. I'm just matting my photo slightly, not too thick of a mat, because it needs to fit on the blue piece of paper next to be its second mat. So I'm matting it maybe 1/8 inch on each side. It's just a very thin mat, and I know it's kind of hard to tell here because it's white on white, but I'm gonna hold it up close to the camera in 1 second so you can see. And we're gonna need this white paper to do journaling strips later, so just save that. So you can kind of see it's a really thin mat, maybe 1/8 inch. And then we're gonna mat that whole thing on this blue rectangle that you cut from your cutting instructions. And it should fit pretty nicely there. Okay, The next thing that we are going to do is, I'm gonna move these yellow papers off to the side for a bit. This is going to be the background of our whole entire layout. And the next layer above that is going to be this one. So I'm going to adhere this down, and I'm just going to put adhesive around all 4 of these thin sides. And just get it centered in the middle here. Oops. And then it's acting like a frame. The reason I gutted these is because I didn't want to waste all this paper in the middle. I wanted to use it, you know, on the other side. And then we're going to place this paper right in there. You know what, I might trim this one down a little tiny bit, just so that this navy matte, you can see it a little bit more. I'm just gonna trim a smidge off of 2 sides. When you get it on your page, you can tell if it looks just like you want a little more border to show. Yeah, I think I like it better like that. So a little more of that border shows. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere that down, and I'm just going to put adhesive on the inside of this part so I don't get it too far in the middle and adhere something to my work surface. This way I know all of the tape will be in there. Okay, so that's the base of this layout. And you're going to have your photo in the middle. And then the silver lining title is going to go up here. The little dot for the silver, for the I for silver. But I wanted to back the word lining so that it pops out a little. And what I used to back it was this scrap. And I chose to back it using the tiny gingham, not the larger gingham. And I will show you how I did that. You're going to put the side that you want to mat on facing up towards you, okay? So I want it to look like this. I'm gonna move this bottom paper so we can pay attention easier here. So I want it to be like this, and I don't wanna see pencil lines. So what I'm going to do is trace the outside of each letter instead of tracing the inside of each letter. And then I'm going to cut slightly inside where I trace. Let me show you what I mean. This is what I mean. I'm going to trace the outside of the L. Oops. I would use pencil in case you make a mistake like I just did. You can just erase it. And the outside of the I. And then when I go cut this out, I'm going to cut just inside of my traced line. And I'm not going to cut them all out on camera because it takes quite a while, but I will cut the first letter or 2 out and show you what I mean, and then I will pause the video while I cut the rest. But let me just get them traced here for you. Okay. I'm going to cut just on the inside of each of these lines so they don't stick out over the edges of the white part. So I will start with the letter L. And if you want to leave it all together in one long piece while you cut, that is fine to me. It's just easier to cut one letter at a time. And then I don't have to try to poke holes in the middle. I'll show you what I mean when I get to the I. So. Okay, so this L is cut, and then I'm going to line it up and make sure that I don't need to trim any of the edges off. I need to just cut a tiny bit off the top, but it's pretty good. And I need to cut a little bit off of there. Okay, so that's the L, and then the I. You see how the I and the N are attached? I don't want to waste time trying to cut the middles of the letters out, so I'm just going to cut the I separate. That's what I mean by cutting each letter separate. It's just quicker to me than trying to go in and get these tiny little details in between the letters. I hate trying to poke my scissors in the middle of a hole and cut the middle of the hole out. Although on the letter G, I'm going to have no choice really. Okay, and then I will make sure this I fits. Oh, I do need to trim a little bit off the top of the I, but I'm going to go ahead and do that to every letter, and as I go through each letter, I'm going to hold it to the back and make sure it fits. And then I'm going to use this glue to adhere it down. I'm going to use the Nuvo Smooth Precision Pen Glue because it's a tiny little tip, and I can just put dots right around the edge of the letter. I'm doing the L right now. I'm gluing it to the back side. And then get my L on there. You have a few seconds to kind of adjust if it's a little crooked when you first lay it down. But there is the L. And then I'll show you the I, and then I'm going to turn off the video to do the rest of the letters. Just put plenty of dots. Just hold it for a few seconds. The glue adheres pretty quick. It just takes a few seconds and then it will dry. So I'm going to pause the video while I do the rest of the letters for this. Okay, ladies, when you get the title all backed, it's going to be time to adhere it to your page. Please do not worry. If you make a mistake on some of these letters and you need to use a little bit out of this big piece of yellow, that's fine, because we do not use this whole piece in the layouts. There's going to be plenty of scraps left over if you couldn't get your whole lining cut out of that one small piece. So let's lay this on the layout like it's going to go. We're going to kind of place everything down, and then we will adhere at the end. I like doing it at the end so I know everything's kind of in the right place. So the next part is going to be to get these die cuts. They're so cute. They're raindrops and clouds and phrases. I'm gonna pull them out. And depending on what color is in your pictures, hold on, this is gonna be loud. Whew, okay, get rid of this. Depending on what color is in your pictures, you might use different color raindrops than the ones that I use here, which is completely fine. I would use them to match your pictures. So we're going to put, I'm gonna use the same raindrops here that I used on my sample layout that includes the pictures, just so it's easy to refer back to for you guys. So there's 3 clouds on this right-hand side. And they just kind of tuck and wedge. And we're not adhering anything down yet. We're just placing it. And there's 2 clouds on this left-hand side. And then there's going to be 7 raindrops on this right-hand side. And 7 on the left-hand side, I guess, too. Just realized that. And this little tag that says "Love in This" goes on there. The phrase that says "Good Story" goes on there. Let's see, all of these raindrops. There's so many colors. These are so cute. I put raindrops even though in my photograph it's a picture of the boys swimming in a swimming pool. but it's because my journaling is about the silver lining. So that's where the raindrops come into play, is that it matches the journaling. Let's see here. I've almost got them all found and picked out. I guess I should have dug through here before I started taping, but that's okay. You can just watch me pick out, oops, and watch me pick out the pieces. So I used all the raindrops that were shades of yellow and blue and black and teal because I didn't have any pink in my pictures, but there are some pink raindrops too. So you can use any color that you like. And I'm just missing one. Here it is. Okay, and the rest of these pieces, we use a lot of them on the next layout, so I'm just gonna leave them sitting here. So now that everything's laid out, we're also going to use 2 stickers, and I'm just gonna cut the stickers out for now so I can place them where they're going to belong. I like laying everything out before I start adhering everything. That way I know if I'm making a mistake. So that adventure one goes there and the hello there sticker, but there is a lot of phrase stickers in here. You can use any ones that you want. If some of them make more sense with your pictures, use some of the other ones. Same with the phrases. There's a lot of cute phrases in this die cut pack, and if they go better with your picture, use them instead of the good story. Okay, so now that everything's laid out, we're gonna start adhering everything, and basically I adhered everything flat to the page except for this die cut that says good story and this die cut that says love and this I popped up on pop dots, but everything else I just put it flush on the page. You can put some of the raindrops popped up if you want to add a little dimension there. I just didn't. You can draw if you wanted, or stitch if you wanted to add a little bit more interest to your layout. You could draw or stitch the little lines that carry the raindrops down from the clouds. That would be really cute. Yeah, so just get everything stuck down. These are so tiny. And then once it's all stuck down, you're going to be ready to add your journaling. And I used some of the paper that we matted the photo on, the white paper that we matted the photo on, because there's a whole bunch of that left. We only used a tiny little portion. I used that paper to cut journaling strips and add those on the bottom, and you'll see that in the full pictures at the end of this video, that where my journaling strips go on this page. They just go right across the bottom. You could also just journal right onto this if you wanted, because it's light enough that if you had a black journaling pen, that would work. Or you could, instead of cutting your journaling into strips, you could just cut a rectangle of the white paper that's left over and make just a little journaling block. But I'm gonna finish adhering this, and then we're going to move on to the other side of the layout. When I'm adhering all of these different layers and titles, I just wanted to get all these raindrops down first, because if we move the page too fast, they just will fly. So there. Okay, so for adhering the layers and the title and the clouds, I would start with the one in the very back, the ones in the very back first, and just slide them under. And I kind of liked my clouds sticking off into my yellow border around the page. You'll see right here how it sticks over the border. It just kind of made the clouds look like they're floating on top. And then on this side, yeah, I really like this die cut pack. It was so cute. I love all the little clouds and raindrops. And I actually have a lot of it left over. Last month I made another layout using my leftover pieces, and I posted it in our Facebook group, and I want to do the same thing this month with the leftover pieces. I'm hoping to do that. I'll probably post it sometime during the month of July. It will not be posted on the 1st of July. But sometime during the month I'd like to do that. It's a fun challenge for me always to use the leftovers when I'm making page kits. Okay, and then adhering this title, I'm using a little tape on the larger portions, and then I'm going to go ahead and use this glue pen on the word silver because it's so thin and I don't want the tape being sticking out all over the edges because the letters are thin. Okay. And I just overlapped that right over the top of the picture a tiny bit. And then the dot for the eye, we'll glue down right there. Good. And then we've got these two stickers. Okay, finally got that peeled off. And the adventure sticker doesn't want to peel either. There we go. It would probably be a lot easier to peel if I had left it on the complete sticker sheet. Let's see, this one just goes underneath the L just a little. Okay, and then like I said, these two I popped up on dimensional adhesive because it added a little interest to the page. I like using this a lot, as you probably already know from my other videos. And then I'm not going to add the journaling strips down to the bottom of this video in real time because it's just me cutting up pieces of paper. I'm not even really journaling on this example. So I will have them there in the full picture, but I'm going to do it after I make this video. There you go. Okay, so that is that first layout, the first half of the layout, I should say, the left-hand side of the layout. And let's start working now on the right-hand side of the layout. Okay, for this side of the layout, we are going to use a few different things. We're going to use this gutted piece of paper. We're going to use the white paper that we slightly trimmed down. There's going to be three 3x4 photos that I used. You can adjust that. Again, these layouts are fairly forgiving. You could use just about any size pictures. We're going to use this blue scrap that we had left over. And then we're going to use some of this yellow paper and do a little technique that I'm going to show you. And we're going to use a bunch of the raindrops again. I think I'm going to start with matting the white background paper to this blue frame because there's a technique, a couple of techniques that I'm going to show you for this layout. They're completely optional. You can still make the layout completely without them. One of them is using mixed media, and I know not everyone enjoys mixed media. Not everyone might have the mixed media products. I am no Vicky Boutin for sure when it comes to mixed media. I'm very much a beginner, so it's a really simple thing that I'm going to show you how to do. But hold on, I can't talk and lay this flat at the same time. Okay, there we go. Yeah, So I'm going to show you what I used for the mixed media, and then you can decide if you want to do this. You can also use different products than the ones that I'm about to show you. You can use ink pads and sponge daubers. You can use crayons, those, I don't even know what they're called, distress crayons, I think they're called. You can use watercolors, you can use watercolor pencils, you can use acrylic paint. Let's see, you can use other kinds of mists. Sorry, I'm getting all the little gummy glue that's stuck on my page off. Okay, but I am going to use this Nuvo mica mist, and it's called Nebula Blue. And I'm going to use a Heidi Swap Color Shine called Ocean, which needs to be shaken up very well, both of them. I'm gonna shake them while I'm talking. Yeah, those are just the two colors that I'm gonna use because that's what I have on hand. Any blue colors that you might have will probably work. Fairly light blue. I'm gonna make it look like water on my layout. The first thing that I'm gonna do is take some of my packaging that I have left over from my die cuts, and I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of this onto it and rub it together, and then I'm just gonna dab it all over where I want it on my layout. And there's no rhyme or reason. I'll show you the area that I do want it is this quadrant down here. My pictures are going to run, let me get this, down the side of my layout right here, so I'm not too worried about what's going to be underneath there. I mainly want it to show right here and then a little bit right down here. Those are the main important areas that I want to put this mixed media on my layout. And guys, like I said, I am not very good at mixed media. I think it's fun, but I'm not very good at it. I know that many of you will be able to do this a lot better, and you know other techniques than what I'm showing you. But for beginners, this is pretty easy, I think. And kind of loud on the video, I'm assuming. This crinkling is kind of getting loud. Okay, one more little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take this blue nebula, which is darker blue than the other blue that I just used, and I'm actually just going to kind of splatter it on. So I open it up and do splatters, kind of something like this, right over the area that I already did it, because I kind of want this to look like water splashes. Okay, and then this is all gonna have to dry for quite a while before you adhere anything to it. So I'm gonna stop the video and let it dry. If some of the splatters look too big and too bright, I just went over them with this to kind of blend it in a little and mix the color a little. Yeah. I don't think you can really mess up with mixed media, because it's kind of messy. So I know it is not for everyone. If it's not for you, just completely omit this part, because I don't want you to not like your layout. Okay, I'll be back in a few when this is dry. Okie doke, I think things are drying up, and the next thing that we're going to do is adhere some of the layers down here. I used this strip, ombre, with the light towards the bottom, because that's the way I liked it. You could flip it the other way and make the lighter color towards the top. It's completely up to you. But that is gonna come right over here. And then I did not mat my 3 photos. I just put them straight on the page, just like this. But you do have plenty of that white paper to mat your photos if you want to. So there's plenty of that. And this top one, we're not, you know what? We're not gonna adhere any of this down right now. Just these bottom 2, because the top one, we're gonna slide some goodies underneath it. So I'm just going to adhere this one and Okay friends, we had a bit of technical difficulties and my camera cut off and I got quite a bit further in my layout. So I just backed up to where we just left off, where just these two photos are adhered and this one's not yet. Now I'm going to show you what to do next. It's gonna look kind of strange because I already did this once, and so now it looks like you missed a part of my video because there's a giant piece taken out of this yellow paper, but you did not miss anything. Okay, this is because I did this once and the video did not take. I'm going to show you again using the other part of this paper. So don't panic, you didn't miss anything. What you're going to do at this point is you're going to cut out a half of a circle that's 5.5 inches in diameter. Or, since you have plenty of this yellow paper, we'll pretend like it's whole, you can cut one whole circle that's 5.5 inches in diameter and then just cut the circle in half if that is easier for you to do. But I'm gonna show you a way to save paper and just cut the half of the circle. So what I'm going to use, I'm using my Creative Memories circle template thing and one of the blades, but you could do this in so many ways. If you did not have this cutting system, you could trace a plate or a bowl or a cup or use a compass. You could use your cutting machine and just cut a 5.5 inch diameter circle. This does not have to be precise. If it's not exactly 5.5 inches in diameter, it doesn't matter, okay? So if your bowl or your thing that you're using is bigger than 5.5 inches, it will still work just fine. This is why there's such a huge piece of this yellow paper, so that you have a lot of leeway for what size circle you need. And then if you have a 1-inch circle punch, cut that because you're gonna need this. If you don't have a 1-inch circle punch, you could try to cut it by hand. It could be approximate. You could trace the bottom of a mist or something and cut it by hand, okay? It does not need to be precise and exact. But what we are going to do is make a sunburst shape out of this. So you're gonna need to know where the middle is on this side. So you could either measure with a ruler or fold it in half and just give it a tiny little crease right there in the middle, because that's what you're going to use as your guide. So once we get the middle, we are just gonna start at the edge, and you're not gonna cut all the way to the middle. You're just gonna cut close, and you're gonna cut little tiny wedges. So you're creating sun rays, because this is gonna be like a sun shape. And it's just little wedges, and get close to the middle, but not all the way to the middle. If you go all the way to the middle, you're just gonna cut your whole rays off. So can you kind of see how I'm doing that? And it doesn't need to be precise. It doesn't need to be exact. If you notice, sometimes I get close and I just tear, because this whole middle section where you're cutting to will be covered up by this little middle of the sun, so it won't matter. I'm actually gonna cut that one a little bit closer though. So a bit. Okay, this was the simplest way that I could think for you guys to cut a starburst shape. I tried making a template on typing paper and sending a template in the kit, but it just got so intense and labor and tracing a template and convoluted, and I didn't want to just assume that everyone wanted this out of their yellow paper, because I thought about maybe just cutting this on my silhouette for everyone and just cutting everyone their own shape. But I like to give everybody freedom in my classes to make other things if you don't want to make this exact layout. So I didn't want to cut into your yellow paper. So this was the simplest way I could think of, and it doesn't need to be precise. My cuts are fairly straight, but if you looked carefully with the ruler, they're not by any means perfect. And you're gonna get this sunburst shape at the end. And then this is going to cover the middle up, so you can't see where all of your cuts lined up. Then you're going to adhere this starburst shape to your layout, and it's going to overlap or underlap, I guess. The picture is going to overlap that last top picture, which is why I didn't adhere it down yet. So we're going to put it about maybe right there. And then we can finally adhere this picture back over the top of it. Okay, then you're gonna get your die cuts, and you've got 3 clouds that you're going to use, and and the center. Oh, where did I do with my center? The center of the sun. So let's put the center down first. I'm gonna use the side with the larger gingham pattern as the center of my sun. And then one cloud is gonna adhere right here. And the next 2 clouds, I already have dimensional adhesive on the back because, like I said, I already made this once. I had to peel it apart. And they're just gonna go right here. And right here, I'm gonna just add a little more tape to the back so it sticks. And for this layout, instead of making these little raindrops be raindrops on my page, I'm making them be water splashes because my photos on my layout are pool photos. So, and I live in the desert and we do not have very much rain, therefore very many pictures of rain in the desert. So I'm just making these work for me and making them look like pool splashes instead of raindrops. But if you were continuing making the second half of your layout a rain picture, a rain theme pictures, you would maybe want to put these laying as raindrops still instead of water splashes. So, and then I really like these little tiny hearts. Woo. Let's see, I think there's another one right here, yeah, blue heart. And then, let's see here. These little phrases, just let go, this is the life, time to relax. And I think I've got all these little raindrops, which are also known as water splashes, in the right places. So I'm gonna start adhering them down, and I'm actually going to use this glue because it's a little bit easier on these tiny little baby pieces. Some of these I did put up on Pop Dots. I will show you which ones I made pop up off the page. Just to add a little interest. You don't have to. And then before you started adhering these down, you could kind of look at your mixed media background that you did and see if there was any blank spaces that kind of needed more, and that's when you would put more, is before adhering all of these raindrops down, or water splashes, whatever we want to call them. Oop, this little guy up here. Okay, so the rest of these I popped up. So it's this yellow one. And they're so tiny, some of them. So you really gotta cut your tape down, or they have really cool adhesive, that dimensional adhesive that's in little teeny tiny skinny strips. I have some, but it's not close to me right now, and I don't wanna get up in the middle of the video and go search for it. So I'm just going to cut down my bigger pieces of foam. And then I added some journaling right up here on my layout with journaling strips on a typewriter, but you could write right directly on here since it's so light. I would maybe use some sort of permanent pen because it is writing over the mixed media that you used. But that's where I added my journaling, and these little tiny ones are so tricky. I'm using my good scissors to cut adhesive. Oh my goodness. That's a little stressful for me. We're almost done with these. And then I did add a couple of stickers from that white sticker sheet on this layout as well. I added the word fantastic and the phrase that says that smile though. I'll show you where I got those in just a second. And, oops, that one wanted to come up. Okay, I think I'm finally done with all these little raindrops. These little raindrops are hard, not hard, time consuming putting on your layouts, but they're not difficult, they're just time consuming. So I used the sticker fantastic right here, and the word that says that smile though, right overlapping it. Whoops. Overlapping it. Now if I had real photos there, you know, you would probably see it better than you can with my white photo holder thing. Oh, and I also used another sticker up here. Let me show you. I used the word love right above these guys. Again, you could use any of the phrases or any of the other little pieces in this die cut pack. It doesn't have to be the exact same ones that I used. I used this word love. But yeah, you've got quite a bit of leftovers. That's why I'm saying I think I want to try to make a little layout using my leftover pieces. They're all shades of pink, so it might be kind of a girly layout here with Not Just for Boys. And this too could be used to mat a picture because it's got a cute little pattern on the back. So my journaling strips will go right there. Oh, and I did add, for finishing detail, I added some Crystal Nouveau drops in Morning Dew because it's clear and they look just like water drops. And I just put a couple on my layout. If you have those at home, you could add a few of those just for a little extra design on here. Oh, I see that I didn't tape this down. This one is supposed to be popped up too. It got away from me. But I like how they look like splashes instead of just raindrops. But you could use them as raindrops too. Just turn them the other direction. Yep, I just added a few of these little guys here and there. And I think that's it. I'm gonna put still pictures up on at the end of this video. If you want to follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube, that would be awesome because we want to start doing some live videos with our monthly kits on YouTube. Thanks guys, and I hope you enjoyed this, and still pictures will follow. Okay, bye.